It seems as if it was only yesterday that the 2019-20 La Liga campaign concluded with Real Madrid crowned champions. Barcelona were leading the league, but then they said, Ernesto Valverde is good, but not Quique Setien good. Sack him now, shouted Bartomeu as a befuddled Eric Abidal picked up his phone to call the manager. We're certain that it would have been one of the most awkward calls the former France international ever had to make. Hello? Hola, Ernesto? Yeah, we're on top of the league table, but how do I put it? We feel that it's the perfect time to allow you to take a much-needed vacation. We've already spoken with Quique and he would love to take over from you. Valverde would have said, well, I don't want to leave. Just tell him that he's fired, Eric, shouts Bartomeu, while looking at an Excel sheet where there's a red question mark next to Artur's name with a small comment that says, he's not turning 30 anytime soon, must be sold. Sorry for drifting away. So, Madrid won the league, Barcelona surrendered it, were pretty abysmal post-lockdown. We said adios to Espanyol, Mallorca and Leganes, saw Valencia slowly become one of the worst-run football clubs in history, then saw a bit of Joao Felix before he got injured, saw even less of Luka Jovic, and of course Eden Hazard was losing and gaining weight like a Hollywood star who has 2 major movies to do in 1 year. That was definitely one of the longest seasons in Spain's history. But we can't say that it was dull, and we surely can't say that it's going to be dull this time around either, based on what's transpired in the last few months. Madrid were perhaps the least flamboyant champions in La Liga history, but perhaps one man's boring team is another man's pragmatic team, right? The last month was one of delusion and fear for Barcelona. Following a thorough spanking at the hands of Bayern Munich, Quique Setien was fired. If that wasn't enough, the team's greatest ever player decided to put in a transfer request. That request sent some serious reverberations around the world. Apparently Manchester City had already decided to make their move, and Messi allegedly wanted to move as well. But as we all know, courtroom dramas can be quite a hassle and attract needless attention, so the Argentine ace decided to shelve his plans. This must have put a big smile on Ronald Koeman's face, who according to tabloids had already informed Messi that his privileges were over. That's not it though. The club decided to sell Ivan Rakitic, Arturo Vidal joined Inter Milan, and Luis Suarez almost joined Juventus, but apparently didn't speak enough Italian to warrant a move to Turin, so he went to Atletico instead. Side note, do you want to know how we never miss a match? With Fubo TV, you can stream any game, anytime, anywhere. Use our link in the description to start for free and watch your favourite teams live. But hey, at least Sevilla had a super amazing season. They ended up winning the Europa League for the umpteenth time. These guys have been dominant in this competition, and I believe we should start a petition calling for the competition to be renamed the Sevilla Cup. Well, this time around, we won't be seeing the Andalusians compete for the tournament, as long as they don't finish in 3rd place in the Champions League group stages. Sevilla have never really done well in the Premier competition, but it's clear that this team is on the rise, and they might even threaten Real Madrid to wrench their title away from them. It would be a great story of redemption for Julian Lopetegui, who was unceremoniously dismissed by Spain on the eve of the World Cup for accepting the Real Madrid job before being sacked by them a few months later. This season we'll see a very different Barcelona side. Now mostly we keep the big clubs right at the end, but I guess the Catalonians are in for a tough ride, so we decided to break free from our own tradition for this one. Messi's here, Miralem Pjanic is here, Memphis Depay isn't here, but at least Coutinho is back after humiliating his teammates last season at Bayern. The Brazilian should be the focal point for Barcelona this time around. Messi is never going to let off-field issues affect his performances, but in order to work for the future, Barcelona need to start planning for life without their talismanic leader. Coutinho seems eager to prove a point, and maybe Antoine Griezmann would turn a corner and start delivering. Nonetheless, this season is going to be a rather complicated one for La Blaugrana, who need to do well one way or another. Now that they have Luis Suarez, Atletico Madrid should look to become title contenders again. They finished 3rd last season and Marcos Llorente shone the brightest. Joao Felix hasn't done well ever since he moved to the Wanda, but you can bet that Diego Simeone will turn the tide. This year could be Atletico's year, and wouldn't it be amazing to see them win the league again? You might know much about Cadiz, but they're a club everyone loves. Their fans are always amazing and love their team no matter what. They're back after 15 years, but do have a fight on their hands as they look to retain their current status. However, with seasoned veterans such as Alvaro Negredo and Augusto Fernandez in their squad, Cadiz are definitely going to give us some truly heartwarming moments. Eibar are a club home to a very small town, but they have been in the league for 6 years now. They've been defying odds and can now be considered an experienced La Liga side. Will they survive? Of course, this team just doesn't know how to give up. Granada won promotion last year and ended up challenging for a place in Europe. In the end, they stole Getafe's place in the Europa League. With Jorge Molina bought from Getafe, this team is bound to finish inside the top 10 and could do fairly well in Europe. Huesca are back in La Liga after 2 years and were actually unlucky to be relegated last time around. They had no funds to begin with and were the proverbial whipping boys of the league. This time maybe they might be able to survive after some drama. Real Betis became one of the most exciting sides to watch in Spain before Setien decided to ditch them. Juan Francesc Rubi couldn't do much and was fired as the team finished 15th in the league standings. Manuel Pellegrini, who won the Premier League with Manchester City a few years ago, is now at the helm. They've signed Claudio Bravo, Martin Montoya and Victor Ruiz, so we might see a very different Betis side this season. Before the whole world went into lockdown, Real Sociedad were one of the best teams in Spain. Sadly though, following a poor run of results in June, they dropped out of the Champions League places and have now lost Martin Ødegaard, who returns to parent club Real Madrid. They have, however, welcomed David Silva, whose experience will prove to be crucial to what is a very young team that has all the ingredients to become a Champions League regular. Elche are back in the league after being relegated back in 2014. However, the story of their relegation is a real sad one. They were sent packing to Segunda División because of their finances, or lack thereof. Despite finishing 13, they were relegated, so you can imagine the heartbreak. This team will be hoping for a miracle, given that they're basically out for war with a team that has little to no experience of top-flight football. Valencia. Last season had quite a lot of feel-good stories, but Valencia does not belong in that category. The owner, Peter Kim, simply destroyed everything the club had achieved after deciding to sack manager Marcelino in September last year. Since then, it's all been bad. The club continues to lose players, and the teary-eyed departure of Dani Parejo is something we find hard to digest. I have felt hurt and sad by the situation for 2 days. I've always said that my intention was to retire at Valencia, said Dani Parejo, former Valencia captain, after he had to move to Villarreal. As football fans, we're all hoping and praying that Lim eventually leaves the club and hands things over to an owner who actually knows what he's doing. Okay, enough with the sadness. Let's talk about Sevilla again. Club icon Ivan Rakitic is back, and the Croatian is still as good as he was when he left in 2014. While they did lose Ever Banega to Saudi Arabia, the signing of Oscar Rodriguez is really a good move. The team's core is intact, and their transfer business might not be over. Where would they finish? Well, based on their form and the crest they're riding on, the Andalusians should finish inside the top 4, and if they're consistent enough, they might even challenge for the title. Real Madrid would definitely want to retain their title. They haven't won a lot of domestic titles in the last 10 years, and perhaps this is the time where they make full use of Barcelona's wounds. However, Atletico Madrid will be breathing down their necks, so consistency will be the key word here. Ødegaard is back and is stronger for the experience. The young Norwegian should do well, and should be given a fair shot at first-team football. Eden Hazard has to do well, and Luka Jovic needs to realise that Karim Benzema alone cannot carry the attack. We do expect Vinicius to come into his own and become more consistent, while the team's defence should rely more on Rafael Varane, rather than Sergio Ramos, who is now becoming a little susceptible to errors. But then again, he's been amazing for so long and is bound to be given some leeway. Now that Gareth Bale is gone, the team should be moving for at least one signing, but that seems to be pushing our luck, given that Madrid haven't been very active or talkative this summer like they usually are. Villarreal are having a ball in the transfer window. Yes, they lost Santi Cazorla to the Qatar Stars League, but they were able to hold on to Gerard Moreno and Pau Torres, while also signing Dani Parejo, Francis Coquelin, Geronimo Rulli and Takefusa Kubo. Unai Emery is a specialist when it comes to the Europa League, so the Yellow Submarine is going to be a tough nut to crack for sure. They've strengthened wisely this summer and have a great milieu of youth and experience. Before we go, here's our predictions for the top half of the table. At the top of the table remain Real Madrid, then Atletico Madrid, Sevilla, Barcelona, Villarreal, Real Betis, Real Sociedad, Granada, Athletic Bilbao, and in 10th Osasuna. And how about a list of teams that could be fighting relegation? Well, we think Huesca, Elche and Valencia. Who else? What do you think? Let us know in the comments section.